I used to watch this show at my grandma's on the Hub, which is, I'm pretty sure, not a thing anymore. It had the Pound Puppies, My Little Pony, and other stuff on it. And Dan vs. was one of those shows that I watched. Honestly, didn't remember too much about it, just that I liked it. So I decided to watch it because it's free on the Roku channel. And that's not exactly, I think, anything with the strike. The Roku channel, Tubi, Freevee, obviously the free apps don't really have anything to do with the strike. But stuff like Disney and Hulu are directly going against the strike. But the Roku channel doesn't really have anything to do with it. Roku itself. The other streaming services do. But anyway, that's besides the point. Kevin McDonald voices a character in this show. Don't remember who. But Kevin McDonald was one of the aliens. And Lilo and Stitch. So it was really cool to hear his voice here. Very recognizable voice. Cree Summer was a girlfriend that Dan had. Kind of forgettable episode. Dude gives Dan a bad haircut on purpose because he's dating his daughter or whatever. The thing that I like about her, though, about Cree Summer, that's the actual actor's name, is that she's from that one kid show, The Kids Next Door, I think. Also, very recognizable voice. Then Mark Hamill, the Joker himself. I think he was also Luke Skywalker, but I've never watched Star Wars. Plays a dentist, an evil dentist. And then, last but not least, Timmy, played by Tara Strong, who plays Timmy Turner in Very Odd Parents, and she was also Harley Quinn and a bunch of other stuff. And then I think, I'm not sure, I didn't look it up, I didn't bother to look it up, but I'm pretty sure Jerry from Rick and Morty, which I won't be watching that show anymore because of what the creator did. Anyways, I think Jerry from Rick and Morty played Kobe. Anyways, now let's talk about Dan versus. So the first few episodes start off pretty simple, like Dan thinks something is, true or whatever, but Chris doesn't. Like the werewolf episode, he's like, "Oh, there's scratches on my car. It has to be a werewolf." And then Chris doesn't, and then it turns out Dan's right in the end. And that's how they do a lot of episodes, even the later episodes. I think the George Washington episode. No, it still was George Washington. They actually, I do want to talk about this real quick. Actually, they kind of hint at the fact of Dan being gay. They don't even hint at it. They basically say it, where Dan finds Kobe dreamy. He calls him a dreamboat. He talks about getting lost in his eyes. All this stuff. So it really seems like they're going directly after the fact of Dan either being gay or at least being bi, maybe pan. But you know what they do in the very next episode? They give him a love interest, of course, because, it's a kid show, so it's frowned upon to have gay characters in it, which is absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, they have this big episode. That's not the direct plot, but there's a lot of scenes where he talks about how hot he finds Kobe, basically. And then in the next episode, they give him a girlfriend. And then his girlfriend leaves because she gets a promotion or something. So now she's a little further away. And then we find out it's only like 20 miles away. But Dan's like, yep, she's gone forever. But anyways, I thought that was pretty bullshit. They also give him a cat which sticks around for the entire show. I don't know if the cat will appear in season 2 or season 3, but I thought that was pretty cool. Most shows don't, stick with that. They also have 2 episodes with Elise's parents, and they come from wherever they are. I don't remember where they live. I think they did say it though. They come to visit her for like a camping trip, and they come to visit her first. I don't remember what the first thing was for though. Well, then she has her birthday in like the finale of the show, and they don't come and visit her. In the finale of the show, on her fucking birthday, they just like send her birthday cards. They're not in the episode. I don't think they would have fit in the episode for what they were going for, but from what we've seen of their parents, they've come twice to come visit her. Yet now that it's her actual birthday, they don't come. Kind of a dick move. So the ninja episode was weird. Apparently ninjas can't I don't even know. That episode was fucking weird. I don't even want to talk about that one actually. The animal shelter. We get introduced to Dan's cat, Mr. Mumbles, which is actually a girl cat. I don't remember what episode exactly they have it in, but a homeless guy finds out that the cat is a girl. And Dan's like, oh, how did you know? And the homeless man's like, oh, I don't want to tell you, or something like that. And they only bring it up again later, so I'll talk about that later. Dan gets mad at traffic, so he tries to destroy traffic. That was definitely something else. The Salvation Armed Forces, just an episode making fun of the Salvation Army. Already talked about the barber episode. Art was an episode of them just making fun of art. There we go. Dan. Dan versus Dan. Some dude tries to pretend to be Dan. Identity theft and shit. Simply because Dan doesn't have many friends, so loved ones won't miss him or whatever if he pretends to be his identity. And in that episode, they also once again remind you of the fact that they know that Mr. Mumbles, Dan's cat, is actually a girl cat. He's like, I thought it was cute that he called you Mr. Mumbles, but I'm starting to think he just didn't know you were a girl. And then the fancy restaurant was a crazy episode. This is a kid's show, but it actually gets pretty dark at times. But this episode, the fancy restaurant, Dan's restaurant that he likes, he really likes their turkey sandwich, gets replaced with a fancy restaurant. And then he ends up finding out that the people working there get thrown in the dungeon if they make one mistake. And they get basically treated like slaves. Which, I honestly think the problem could have been solved pretty easily. Since they forced him to, cook down there and whatever, couldn't they just eat the food? If they're refusing to work and they just keep eating the food that you give them to make down there and to feed your customers, and they just keep eating the food you give them to cook, then you're not going to get anything out of them. Though they also couldn't let them free since they were, doing something very illegal by holding them hostage. They also casually say that the chef is like a cannibal, and then it's never brought up again. They talk about how some people disappear and they get cooked in the pie. Dan's like, oh, I totally knew that. And then it's never mentioned again. They also do jokes that are clearly mocking certain situations or darker things that you see in other movies. There's an episode where he kidnaps a rabbit in the finale, and it's clearly a hint at kidnappings, just kidnapping situations and how they're shown in movies. He hands him a phone and he's like, oh, that proves that he's still alive because the newspapers from today blah blah blah. They kind of mock that idea. It does a lot of mocking. I like that. Um, the family camping trip, Burger File, The Magician. Oh, I guess the one with the rabbit and the magic and stuff, and it being Elise's birthday was on the finale. I forgot about the Lemonade Stand Gang being the finale. The Lemonade Stand Gang was okay. I do think it probably could have been solved way easier, but it was a pretty good episode. It's a kids show. I don't expect it to be, you know, crazy or anything, but it was good.